Elon Musk has been causing a lot of controversy lately. He sent a message to SpaceX and Tesla employees saying that remote work is no longer acceptable and everyone must be in the office for minimum 40 hours per week. He also fired people by inviting them to online meetings, after which they found out they no longer had jobs. And recently, his conflict with Donald Trump caused another wave of controversy. And yet, SpaceX continues to send rockets into orbit. They recently broke a record, completing 144 launches in 2024. Tesla produces millions of electric cars annually, though currently performing poorly on the stock market. Starlink connects the world, serving over 6 million users in 100 countries. This all takes place with stuff that changes continuously and rapidly. But think for a moment. Musk's companies don't just operate, they function at a pace that seems impossible for most organizations. Average project completion time at SpaceX is about 18 months. In the traditional space industry, 5 to 10 years. At Tesla, a new car model goes from concept to production in 3 years. At competitors, 7 to 10 years. And here comes the key question. Since we know that the most important element of any organization is people, how is this possible? Especially in the case of SpaceX or Tesla, where you need not only very intelligent but also perfectly trained employees, those who can solve problems independently, act strategically, and adapt to changes instantly. Today we will go through how Elon Musk trains and develops people in his companies, what methods he uses, what his philosophy is, and what can realistically be transferred to other organizations, even those that don't build rockets but have teams to develop and results to achieve. According to Hermann Ebbingel's forgetting curve study, people forget 50% of new information within an hour and 90% within a week if there is no repetition and practical application. That's why traditional training is often throwing money down the drain. I witnessed such a situation in one company where the L&D team prepared customer service training for half a year. Beautiful slides, interactive quizzes, budget of $50,000, and in the end, employees returned to their desks and not much changed. They still served customers similarly as before. Customer satisfaction indicators remained at practically the same level. Now compare this to what happens at SpaceX. A new engineer gets a task on the first day, not a simulation, not a case study, a real problem to solve. Something that might fly into space in a few months and they have to dive right in. But here's the key difference. They are not left alone. They have a mentor who has previously solved similar problems. They have access to all tools and documentation. They can ask questions in real time. They learn not from presentations but in real context with other people under expert supervision with continuous feedback. This is not by chance, this is a system and it can be adapted in any company. You can even consider replacing such a mentor with artificial intelligence. I mean an AI model that will be able to answer an employee's questions, whether they need answers based on the company's database or from specific departments in the organization. Musk tells his employees, think from first principles, meaning reduce everything to the most important fundamental truths and then build solutions from scratch. Sounds abstract? Actually, it doesn't make much sense, so let's see how it works in practice. When SpaceX started, the cost of launching a rocket was about $60 million. Everyone in the industry knew that that's just how it is. But Musk told his people, don't ask how others did it, ask what is absolutely true and indisputable. And they started from basics. How much do the materials cost? Aluminium, steel, rocket fuel, about $20,000. How much does labor cost? About $500,000. Where's the rest of those 60 million? In traditional processes, bureaucracy, multi-year development cycles. Within a few years, SpaceX reduced rocket launch costs to about $2.7 million per Falcon 9 mission, still achieving profit. That's over 20-fold cost reduction. But how to translate this to training in your company. Very simply, instead of asking how do they train people in our industry, start with first principles. What do our employees really need to better perform their work? Don't copy what others do. Identify real needs and build from there. For example, if you have a problem with onboarding new employees, don't buy a ready learning course. Instead, do something simpler and more effective. Observe new employees for a week. Ask them what was hardest in the first week. What did you lack? What would you have liked to know earlier? At what moment did you feel lost? And based on this, build an onboarding system. Maybe it turns out they don't need a 40-hour course, just a simple first deal checklist. Or maybe a 15-minute conversation with a mentor daily for the first week and access to the company's internal knowledge base. If you made it to this point, remember to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. It will help reach more people with it. Okay, so back to this episode. Okay, let's continue. At SpaceX, there are no onboarding simulation games or team buildings with Lego blocks. There are real work from day one. You get a problem to solve, you have a team, a mentor, a real-time feedback. But most importantly, you are aware that what you are doing matters. Tom Mueller, SpaceX chief engine engineer, told in an interview how his team teaches new people. We give them a real rocket engine component to design. Not a simulation, not an exercise, a real component that will fly into space. If they make a mistake, the rocket might explode. This pressure mobilized learning in a way no course can achieve. This can be adapted in any organization. Instead of a 2-week introductory course, give a new employee a real project to complete. But remember about proper support. You don't want the rocket to explode. For example, if someone joins the marketing team, their first task might be preparing a campaign for a smaller customer segment. A real campaign that will actually go live with a real budget, say $1,000. But with a mentor who will help with strategy, with access to analytical tools, and with weekly check-ins with the team. Or in the sales department, instead of a week of theory about sales techniques, let the new employee observe experienced salesperson during real customer conversations for the first week. Listen to recordings from previous conversation, analyze them with a mentor. In the second week, they conduct their own conversations, this time with a mentor by their side who can jump it and help at any moment. Or let AI record and analyze their conversation. They tell them what they could have done better. This can even be implemented in IT companies for programmers. Instead of monthly onboarding, new developers get a real bug to fix in a production code from day one. Simple but real, with a senior developer as mentor and access to all tools. Okay, so what's the result? Onboarding time was reduced from 6 weeks to 10 days, and new employees feel part of the team from day one because they see their work has real impact on the product. The key is for the employee to immediately see the connection between what they are learning and real business results. At Tesla, the engineer knows that the optimization they introduce will affect the performance of a car that a real customer will buy. This awareness motivates learning in a way no e-learning course will ever achieve. Teams at Musk's companies learn like startups, in small iterations, in short cycles. Nobody waits months for training results, but if something doesn't work, just fix it within a week. Gwynne Shotwell, SpaceX CEO and president, describe it like this: we don't make a 5-year plans, we make 3-month plans, execute them, learn from mistakes, and iterate. Fast, often, with concrete goals. This can be implemented anywhere. Organize a training sprint in your company, 2 weeks, 1 goal. For example, how to improve our onboarding processes, or how to shorten response time in customer service. The team gets autonomy, resources, and a deadline. They must partially figure it out themselves what can be improved. Then after 2 weeks, they present results to the entire company. You collect feedback from other teams, implement changes the following week, and move forward. This can be called mission-based learning. A certain e-commerce company implemented such a system in their customer service department. Every month, a different 3-person team got a challenge: how to shorten email response time by 20%, or how to increase customer satisfaction in the returns process. They had a budget of 5,000 zlotys, fully autonomy in testing solutions, and a mentor from management. After a month, they presented the solution to the entire company, not just theory, but a working system that could be implemented immediately. As a result, within a year, they shortened service time from 24 hours to just 4 hours, and employees from the customer service department became the most engaged team in the company. Why? Because they feel their ideas have real impact on company development. At SpaceX, every system element goes through an evaluation process. The team shows what they did, what doesn't work, what needs improvement. But this isn't evaluation for evaluation's sake. It's sharing process and learning from each other's. After each rocket flight, SpaceX organized a post-mission review, detailed analysis of everything that happened, not to blame someone, but to draw conclusions for the future. These sessions are recorded and available to all company employees. Traditional companies do this wrong. After training, they send a form, rate the training on a scale of 1 to 10. This is completely worthless. You get an average rating of 7.8 out of 10, and what's next? You know nothing about whether people actually learn something. Instead of a test, a conversation or meeting about what worked, what didn't, what we will do differently next time. And instead of points, concrete conclusions and next steps. In some organizations, there's something called Demo Day, which is a 15-minute presentation for other teams about what they learned, what the problem they solved, what tools they discovered, and what they recommend to others. This can even be a casual conversation over coffee. Hey, we tested a new email automation tool this month. It saved us 5 hours per week. I will show you how to configure it. This way, knowledge spreads naturally throughout the organization. Teams learn from each other and don't compete or feel ashamed of mistakes. Then, essentially, nobody has to organize formal training because the best practice spreads themselves. You can implement this in your organization. Instead of pushing mistakes, reward sharing lessons learned from failures. Create an internal knowledge base where teams can document not only successes but also failures and conclusions drawn from them. Now you are probably thinking, what about employee well-being? Musk isn't known for empathy and work-life balance. And that's true. His management style is harsh. Some SpaceX employees work 60 to 80 hours per week. At Tesla, pressure for results is enormous. But there's a certain paradox in this. According to Glassdoor data, despite the difficult working conditions, 73% of SpaceX employees and 70% of Tesla employees would recommend their company to a friend. For comparison, the average in tech industry is 67%. Moreover, many people return to Tesla and SpaceX after leaving for other companies. Why? Because they develop faster there than anywhere else. They have a real impact on what they do. They have a sense of mission. They are not selling another widget, but sending people to Mars and accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. And this is also an element of well-being, not just Fruit Wednesdays and gym membership. According to Harvard Business Review research, the biggest impact on job satisfaction comes from 3 factors: autonomy, skill development, and sense of purpose. Exactly what Musk's companies offer. If you give people the opportunity for real development, not declared in HR policy but real, you create an environment where people want to be. Autonomy in action, clear goals, fast feedback, and awareness of impact on company results are powerful motivators. Research shows that internal motivation, I do this because I like it and see the point, is much stronger than external motivation, I do this for money or to avoid punishment. Instead of another mandatory training, give your team a choice. What skills would you like to develop this quarter and how could this help the company? Let them propose propose development projects themselves. Give them a budget. It doesn't have to be a huge couple of $100s per person. Time, example, 4 hours weekly for development, and autonomy in choosing learning methods. Then let them present to the team monthly what they learned and how they use it at work. Through this, people feel appreciated, develop skills according to their interest, and company gains employees with broader competencies and greater engagement. All this doesn't have to cost a fortune. You don't need to hire an army of trainers. It's enough to change thinking about training from transferring knowledge to solving problems. If you want to start tomorrow, here's a concrete plan. Week 1. Diagnosis. Do a 15-minute conversations with 5 employees from different departments. Ask, what do you need to better perform your work? What skills would you like to develop? What frustrates you about current processes? Identify the 3 most common needs. Week 2. Initialization. Choose one team, example 5 to 7 people for testing. Define one concrete problem to solve within a month. Give them a budget, time, and a mentor. Week 3 to 6. Implementation. Weekly 30 minutes check-ins with the team, documenting progress in a simple tool, can be even a Google Docs, supporting but not micromanaging. Week 7. Presentation and scaling. The team presents results to other departments. 15 minutes and Q&A, collecting feedback and conclusions, planning next iterations. As for tools, you can start with 3 options. Notion for managing training projects and documenting knowledge. Loom for recording quick video feedback and micro lessons. Slack for continuous team communication and progress sharing. Google Workspace for document collaboration and presentations. If you want something more advanced, Learn Upon or Talent LMS for progress tracking, Synthesia for creating a quick micro lessons supporting projects, and Miro for workshops and brainstorming sessions. But remember, tools are just support. The most important thing is changing the approach. Before you start implementing these methods, it's also important to know what to avoid, because I have seen companies that tried to copy Musk's approach and ended in disaster. Mistake number 1. Lack of clear goals. You can't tell a team to learn and leave them alone. Every project must have a concrete, measurable business goal. Not improve communication, but shorten customer email response time from 24 to 12 hours. Mistake number 2. Lack of support. Autonomy doesn't mean we can leave a new team member without supervision. People need a mentor, access to tools, and regular feedback. If you give them a project but don't give support, it's a recipe for frustration. Mistake number 3. Too high expectations immediately. Start with small projects. Not everyone will immediately be able to solve problems at SpaceX level. Give people time to get used to the new way of working. Mistake number 4. Not celebrating successes. When a team achieves a goal, celebrate it publicly. Show the entire company what was accomplished. This motivates others to similar initiatives. Mistake number 5. Giving up after first failure. Not all projects will succeed. That's normal. It's important to draw conclusions and try again, instead of returning to old methods. So what are the next steps and call to action? You don't have to be Elon Musk to build a learning culture based on a real development, not certificates. Learning can become your company's foundation, drive innovation and help people grow. And as a result, it can be what differentiates you from competition. And if you're already implementing similar solutions in your company, share in the comments what works, what doesn't, what are the biggest challenges. We can learn from each other. See you in the next episode.